You are Locked On 76ers Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Philadelphia, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Boy, oh boy, welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On 76ers Postcast on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. Make sure you hit like and subscribe to the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Barzetta, and it's lovely to have you along for the ride when the Sixers have all three, and maybe even four, including Kelly Oubre and his performance tonight, clicking for their W tonight. Now they've won 6 of 9. Embiid comes back wearing the mask. No one loved me until I put the mask on. Anyway, 34 points, 9 assists, 30 minutes plus played in the game, and he looked every bit, especially in the second half, like a player that was putting it behind him as far as playing himself back into shape in the grand scheme of things. A guy coming back from a sinus fracture, I assume that's just a little the broken nose. I don't know. But anyway, comes out tonight and was doing it all for the 76ers. Struggled in the rebounding game, but that's not something I'm too concerned about. Overall, I just want to see him go out there and play a lot of minutes, and he was able to do that tonight. And when the Sixers had a little bit of a worry there in the fourth quarter when they allowed the Charlotte Hornets to start things off with a 12-2 run, 12-4 overall in the quarter, and they called timeout, and Embiid came back in the game and calmed the storm. So we have that to get into. We also have Tyrese Maxey's performance, like I mentioned, Kelly Oubre, and PG. For Paul George, it wasn't the best night as far as scoring goes, but just about everything else, Paul George was there to answer the bell. So welcome in. This, again, is Locked On 76ers Postcast. My name is Mark Farzetta. Hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. And I do have to tell you that your favorite podcast now has a newsletter. Introducing the Locked On 76ers Daily Newsletter. One stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On 76ers newsletter. This particular episode of Locked On 76ers is brought to you by FanDuel. Locked On 76ers Postcast. You can start the season with a big return on FanDuel. New customers can place a $5 bet. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Let's start it off with 3 big things right out of the gate as we do each and every show. First and foremost, let's talk about Joel Embiid. The most important thing, I'm going to start with the headline, and that, of course, is Joel Embiid. Anything the Sixers needed from him, they pretty much got tonight. Whether it was N1s going to the basket, helping the Sixers build their big lead in the first quarter, really stepping up in the second quarter to score 24 of his 34 points. That came in the second half of tonight's game. He had a couple of great plays down the defensive end to force turnovers. One came when the Sixers were starting to slip a little bit, and then Joel Embiid really started calming the storm when he was able to go up there. He got a foul. He got a jumper from the foul line that made it 91-85 late in that fourth quarter. Then Embiid came down the other end with a great spinning lay-in to make it 93-87. And then this was, as far as I was concerned, the exclamation point on Joel Embiid's night, even though he went on to score, I believe, 6 more points after this. Joel Embiid at the 5:50 mark down the defensive end gets a steal. Then he looks ahead to Gershon Yabusele, and he sets him up for a run-out slam dunk, which ended up being a 3-point play as he would convert when a blocking call was made, and he went to the foul line and converted the 3-point play to put the Sixers back up by 9 points. He did it all. To look at the stat sheet, which we'll do in a minute, Joel Embiid was able to come up with the 34 points. He was also come up with, let's look at it right now because I'm blanking on how many minutes he played in total. Yeah, 31 minutes. 34 points in 31 minutes. I was hoping his night would be done in about 24, 25 minutes, but unfortunately, Nick Nurse needed the big fella to come off the bench to squash a Charlotte Hornets run, which again started out in the quarter 12-2, unfortunately. But Joel Embiid was very present, and before I came on to do the postcast here, one of the things that jumped out to me, he was on the TV there with Taryn Hatcher doing his post-game interview. Taryn happened to reference that Joel Embiid put his mask back on to do the interview, which is just the most Joel Embiid thing ever. And then he goes on to talk about how he's just there to help his teammates. If Joel Embiid is going to drop 34 points with 9 assists in a game where he's just there to help his teammates, then that's pretty special. I'm just here to help my teammates with 34 points and squashing any momentum that the Charlotte Hornets had in the fourth quarter. Yeah, that's doing a little bit more than helping your teammates. Also, overall, the steals were there tonight. The rebounds, like I said, they weren't a huge thing for Joel Embiid, but other guys were ripping boards for them. Most notably, Paul George. We'll get to that, what he was able to do to help the team tonight. And then listening to Joel Embiid talk about, again, helping his team and talking about going out there and how he just wants to play basketball. I in no way, shape, or form expected Joel Embiid to miss an extended amount of time after he had impact to his face, as it was referred to in his last game out there. I in no way, shape, or form expected him to miss time with a sinus fracture, like an extended period of time. However, I am still of the school that the Sixers are looking for any excuse they could find to not play Joel Embiid, simply to have him ready and as healthy as possible for the second half of the season. But you can't continue to go in a downward spiral in the first half of the season, because the ground that you're going to be creating between, the distance between making the playoffs or even the play-in tournament and not is only going to grow. So you also don't want Joel Embiid to come back in the second half of the season and over-exert himself. So the Sixers, I thought, would still look at it and go, well, maybe we could get another week out of resting him. I mean, after all, he's got a sinus fracture, people. It's hard to breathe. But I love the idea that the Sixers did not take that route, and I love the idea that Joel Embiid did not champion that cause to miss more time with a sinus fracture. Instead, he comes back a little sooner than most anticipated. We were supposed to just see him get it reevaluated. But he's back, he's playing, and he played very well into tonight's ball game. And he also played very well when it mattered most in the clutch situation that was the fourth quarter. Now, on the negative side of that, I would have really loved for the Sixers to be able to continue the good vibes they had going in that fourth quarter and Joel Embiid not having to play in that fourth quarter. But when I saw the starting five for the fourth quarter of PG, okay, Yabu, all right, Eric Gordon, interesting, Ricky Council the fourth, Kyle Lowry, goo. I was a little skeptical that five-man lineup would be able to hold the Sixers lead. And sure enough, what ended up happening, the Sixers went into 12-4 to start out the quarter, including a 12-2 run by the Charlotte Hornets. So fortunately, Joel Embiid coming off the bench was able to stop that. Unfortunately, Joel Embiid had to come off the bench and stop that. So Joel Embiid, lead story, number one thing, fantastic. Number two, Tyrese Maxey. I can't say it enough. Really, I'm going to go 2 and 2A and 2B. Tyrese Maxey and Kelly Oubre, because Kelly Oubre and Tyrese Maxey starting off this basketball game for the Sixers tonight really set the tempo. In the early goings of this game, Maxey was able to come up. He knocked down a three off an Embiid rebound. Oubre comes in. I think he had 3 corner threes alone, 4 total in that first quarter. Oubre came up at the 7:40 mark, knocked down his second corner three, made it a 17-6 lead in favor of the Sixers. Paul George would hit his only 3 of the night in the opening frame there. Maxey would hit another 3. Ricky Council would come up with a 3. By the time the first quarter was over, Maxey had already had 15 points in the game. Oubre and Embiid had 8 points in that first quarter. But Kelly Oubre is the guy that really has stepped up for the Sixers over the last handful of games. We talked about 3 games in a row where he was able to come up with double-doubles, was a rebound shy of that in Monday's matchup against the Charlotte Hornets. And tonight, he stepped up big time for the Sixers. So I'm going to look at Maxey, and I'm going to look at Kelly Oubre. The other thing surrounding Tyrese Maxey was how many times now he is actually getting foul calls. Couple of N1 situations for him tonight, and maybe 2-3 weeks ago, this wasn't happening. But we had talked about on this very show, Tyrese Maxey starting to get that respect around the NBA, and him demanding that respect from the officials by being a bit of a squeaky wheel, which isn't always a good thing, but in this particular case, it was a great thing. And Nick Nurse, a head coach that has been known from his time with the Raptors, obviously, and now here with the Sixers, without Joel Embiid at times, being a coach to lobby the officials for calls. I have no doubt in my mind that Nick Nurse looked at Tyrese Maxey at some point and said, hey, dude, you got to start sticking up for yourself too. I can't do all the battling for you. And now Maxey, you're starting to get those calls. So Maxey tonight comes away in total with 23 points. Kelly Oubre comes up with 22, which brings me to number 3. So 2A, 2B. So technically this is 4. Whatever. Paul George tonight. Let's look at the numbers. 2 for 12 from the floor. 1 for 7 from beyond the arc. No trips to the foul line. 11 rebounds, though. 2 offensive. 8 assists in the game. 3 steals, a block shot, just 2 turnovers. 5 points in total. 5 points in total. I love the idea that if his shot's not falling, you saw him shy away from a couple shots. He, I think, makes a concerted effort to go, okay, how else can I help? And this is something that always drives me crazy, and I am against the current. The vast majority of people are like, just keep shooting. I'm like, if you're a shooter, you know those nights. I know you have to have those nights where you're just unconscious and you don't care and you just keep on shooting. The next one's going in, that whole mentality that everyone always talks about. But I do believe that there's sometimes where you just know, okay, this ain't my night. Like, sometimes it's just not my night. So what else can I do? And in the first quarter of the game tonight, and I'm not suggesting that Paul George knew this right out of the gate, but in the first quarter, he had a great setup to Joel Embiid. And I don't know if he made the decision. All right, let me be more of a facilitator tonight than a scorer. Again, you look at overall what he had going for himself tonight. 12 shots, 7 threes. He made 2 shots in total in tonight's contest. But there was one particular play in that first quarter where he set up Joel Embiid beautifully. And Joel Embiid was able to get a layup out of it in the early goings of the game. And that was an 2-man game with him and Paul George. From that point on, George definitely took on the role of more of a facilitator. But there was one point in the game that I thought George was really just trying to get out of this with as many rebounds, as many assists as he could possibly have. And it was at the 9:30 mark of the fourth quarter. Paul George comes up, sees Kelly Oubre in the corner for a 3, wide open. George now has nobody on him either. But instead of just taking the shot from the foul line extended there on the perimeter, he passed it up and gave it to Kelly Oubre. Kelly Oubre gave it right back to him. Like, dude, just let it rip. George then decided, I'm not going to shoot this. Dribble drive. Misses the layup. He just couldn't take the lid off the basket tonight, unfortunately. But everything else he did really helped out his teammates. Whether it was the 8 assists, whether it was the 9 rebounds, whatever the case might be, he was all over the place tonight, and his defense was stellar. If you're getting a night from Kelly Oubre, and you're certainly getting a 30-plus point performance from Joel Embiid, and you're getting Tyrese Maxey, with another 20-plus point performance as well, and also Ricky Council, look, it wasn't a great game entirely, but you see 11 points from Ricky Council in the ball game. You see him knock down a couple threes. You see him have a thunderous jam in this game. Then you're not going to need as much from PG. But if PG does the little things, which he can do as a versatile wing player, then you have at it, man. You have at it. So looking at what you got from Embiid tonight overall, by the way, breaking news, Joel Embiid will be out tomorrow night versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. So just got done saying that he just wants to play basketball. Not going to play in the back-to-back tomorrow night against the Cleveland Cavs. But that's not a shock. Overall, though, tonight, Joel Embiid with a great performance, Maxey and Oubre doing a hell of a job, and Paul George getting all 4 of those guys on the court at the same time, mainly the big 3, was a fantastic thing to get from the Sixers tonight. Something else we're going to get into coming up here. There was an energy on the floor tonight in South Philadelphia. Why was that energy there? We'll talk about that when we return. This is Locked On 76ers Postcast on the Locked On Philadelphia YouTube channel. Back after this. Prize Picks. You guys have heard me talking a lot about Prize Picks. It's the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long with Prize Picks, America's #1 daily fantasy sports app. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action. Join over 10 million members and sign up today. Prize Picks invented flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Join now because this holiday season, Prize Picks is giving away 2 free picks in December. They're giving away $30+ million in rewards during Picksmas. Yeah, that's right. Sign up today and get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even have to win to get your 50 bonus dollars. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks is the best way for real money this basketball season. That's the best way to win real money. With players going off, which ones are going to go off? Find them on Prize Picks. Make your picks in less than 60 seconds and turn your sports opinions into real money all season long on Prize Picks. Download the app today and use promo code LOCKEDONNBA to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's $50 instantly when you use promo code LOCKEDONNBA when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Hey, let me talk to you about something. All right, let's talk about Rockets RX. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket RX. If you're ready to boost your confidence and take control in the bedroom, Rocket RX has the solution. Imagine feeling more prepared and performing at your best. Rocket RX makes it simple and stress-free. Rocket RX offers FDA-approved treatments for erectile dysfunction at a lower cost than branded alternatives. No more uncomfortable doctor visits or pharmacy trips. Everything is delivered straight to your door in discreet, plain packaging. With Rocket RX, you'll get trusted care from a real U.S. clinical team. Complete a quick 100% online consultation, and you could get your free prescription today. Visit rocketrx.com to get started now. It only takes 2 minutes. Right now, our listeners can get 40% off your first order when you use promo code LOCKEDONNBA. That's promo code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order for Rocket RX. Go to rocketrx.com and use code LOCKEDONNBA for 40% off your first order. Terms apply. Rocket RX. Better sex made simple. Yeah, that's right. Welcome back to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farza. This is the Locked On 76ers postcast and the Locked On Philadelphia Sports YouTube channel. A different energy out there on the court. Now, why was that? Well, I'll tell you why. The obvious, Joel Embiid was playing, and a lot of people didn't expect him to play. Before the game, we knew he was going to be playing, obviously. It wasn't a great surprise, but you heard the rumblings yesterday from Andre Drummond, most notably, saying, I would have been surprised Joel Embiid was out there practicing and playing. I would have been surprised if he's going to play against the Hornets in this opportunity to sweep the season series 4 games straight against the Charlotte Hornets, and that's exactly what happened. But then there was something else that happened. The Sixers were on a roll in that first quarter. Absolutely on a roll. When they started things out by the close of that first quarter, they were up in the game 41-23. 41 points is the best start the 76ers have had all season long. That is a season high for a first quarter. At the close of that first quarter, you had seen Kelly Oubre, hot. You had seen Tyrese Maxey, hot. 15 points. 15 points of the 24 he had on the evening. Check it one more time. 23 he had on the evening were scored in the first quarter of the game. That is something special. And they were off and running. Ricky Council had a run-out, throw-down, thunder jam to put the Sixers up 38-23. That helped the good vibes keep on going. Then with 20 seconds remaining in the quarter, Ricky Council, with the hair all out, looking phenomenal, he knocked down that corner 3 to make it 41-23 and put a cap on the Sixers scoring in that first quarter. Yes, the energy was there because Joel Embiid was playing. The energy started to make the roof rattle at the Wells Fargo Center thanks to how the Sixers came out and played. Look, you can play down to your opponents. We talk about it, and it happens in every single sport. You can play down to your opponents. The Sixers, who have not been a very good basketball team for the majority of this season for a multitude of reasons, availability being the main one, they went up against an inferior opponent tonight. And they went up against an inferior opponent for about 4 games, all 4 games. And they didn't play down. Squeaky moments? Certainly. You saw the lead cut down to 6, I believe it was, at one point in this game after leading by as much as 23. And that was before the fourth quarter. But the Sixers found ways to reestablish momentum, take control of the game. I believe in Jalen Hurts had talked about this in football a couple of times about how momentum is like the fakest thing, because one little thing, you think everything's going right, then one little bounce doesn't go your way. One ball gets tipped and all of a sudden it's an interception, whatever. But in basketball, I thoroughly believe in momentum. And that's why you see timeouts called when teams are going on runs. Perfect example was Nick Nurse being like, all right, a 12-2 run's enough for me in this fourth quarter to start things out. Let's make sure that we just put the kibosh on this run. 89-83. It's a 6-point game. He calls timeout. Sixers are starting to sweat a little bit. Fans down there at the Wells Fargo Center starting to sweat a little bit. Joel Embiid checks in at the 7:52 mark of the fourth quarter, and the rest is history. Excuse me, it got down to a 4-point lead. I forgot Diabate came out after the Sixers called timeout and Joel Embiid checked in. He made it 89-85. And then Embiid got the jumper from the foul line. Embiid got the spin layup. Embiid got the steal and the run out to Yabusele. He threw it down for the 96-87 lead. And then Embiid had a little wild layup there for the even 100 for the Sixers to make it a 192 lead. But they took control. But all throughout the game, the energy at the Wells Fargo Center was incredible. And that's what you want from your hometown crowd. You want to be able to give them something to cheer about above all else. And just about everybody out there on the court gave the hometown crowd something to cheer about. They did a great job of jumping out to that 41-point performance in the first quarter, and they did a great job having little moments throughout the entire game to let the crowd know, well, we still got this. We still got this. And in case we need to break glass, in case of emergency, we need to break glass, we got Joel Embiid being able to come off the bench in that fourth quarter. When the Sixers closed out the third quarter, they're up 85-71. And then they blinked, and it was a 4-point game. Game of runs. Not that you need any more evidence that basketball is a game of runs, but tonight was certainly a game of runs for the Sixers. Also, overall, when it came to the turnover battle tonight, I thought it was a little bit interesting here for the Sixers. Sixers and Hornets, fairly close, 17-15. 17 for the Hornets, 15 for the Sixers. Sixers were able to convert those turnovers to 26 points. 17 turnovers to 26 points, while the Hornets were only able to convert 15 turnovers for 17 points. Not ideal. So the Sixers certainly took more advantage of that. And the Hornets, by the way, never led in the basketball game. When we come back, we'll take a look at our comment section, how you guys are feeling about this one, whether or not you're surprised at all that Joel Embiid's not playing tomorrow night against Cleveland Cavaliers. I, for one, am not. So we'll get into that conversation. Sixers get the 108-98 win over the Hornets. They have now won 9 games on the season, improving to 9-16 on the year, and won 6 of 9 over this stretch. Not too shabby. Back in a few. When we come back, like I said, we're going to take a look at what you guys have to say about this game, and we'll see what the Sixers have in the not-too-distant future. That's what we got coming up. Oh, one more shout-out to a special Sixers player. That's when we return on Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers POSTCAST. FanDuel. Let me tell you about FanDuel. How amazing is FanDuel? FanDuel's a great time. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL all in one place. So when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you could check the latest stats, view live play-by-play, and so much more on the same page where you place your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com to join today. You could get on this action, for instance. Super Bowl odds, the Buffalo Bills leading the pack right now at plus 450. Philadelphia Eagles right on their heels, though, at plus 480. Kansas City Chiefs plus 500. The Lions also at plus 500. That's the way that looks. The Minnesota Vikings are at plus 1,300. As for Defensive Rookie of the Year, this is ridiculous. Jared Verse has overtaken Quenyon Mitchell somehow again. He's at minus 210. Quenyon Mitchell plus 210. That's the way that's looking right now. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet on FanDuel. Go to FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel at FanDuel.com, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. All right, one more thing I wanted to make sure I got in about this game. One more player I wanted to shout out. I know I mentioned him earlier, but how about some first quarter minutes for Ricky Council IV? I love to see that. Absolutely love to see that. And if you look at his stat sheet on the evening, you look down there, last name that did play, 11 points overall, 2 for 2 from the free throw line, knocked down a 3, 4 of 5 from the floor, including a couple of slam dunks. Love to see it for Ricky Council. These are spark guys we're talking about. Also, Gershon Yabusele, 9 points, 5 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds. That's a great thing to see as well. Andre Drummond, only 10 minutes played tonight. That's fine. Give him a break while Joel Embiid was able to log in 31. Yeah, have at it, fellas. Have at it. One thing I did not like seeing was you guys have heard me mention, I gave praise. I gave quite a bit of praise, as a matter of fact, to Eric Gordon after his last game against Charlotte on Monday, knocking down a couple of threes. Believe he was 4 for 5 from beyond the arc in that one. 2 points tonight. 0 for 2 from beyond the arc. They ain't all going to be winners. They ain't all going to be winners. I was hoping, though, he would build a little momentum for himself in this one. But, yeah, off the bench, Ricky Council IV tonight. Loved what he contributed. Let's get into the chat check and see what you wonderful people are talking about with this game tonight. Crazy what's going on. I wish somebody loved me like Nick Nurse loves Eric Gordon and Kyle Lowry. Well, 'tis the season to find that special someone. On the next Hallmark original Christmas movie, Crazy finds love with Nick Nurse. I want you to love me like this Nick Nurse loves me. It's impossible. Tonight at 8. Bandman 100. Nick Nurse still has no idea what to do with the lineup at halftime or half the time. How do you get anything? How is he supposed to figure out anything normal? He's got an Embiid. He doesn't got an Embiid. Maxey even had a hamstring injury where he missed, 2 weeks, 3 weeks? Like, nothing's normal. I'm not looking at Nick Nurse in rotations at all as a point of criticism so far. Sir Sketchable, love you, Craig. Yeah, we all. That's beautiful. Look, everyone loves everybody. This is beautiful. Sir Sketchable, Embiid might not need to wear the mask full time. Never heard of someone breaking their face so frequently. Oh, he might need to wear the mask full time. Well, I do love that after the game, he was like, he put the mask on just to do the interview because that's JoJo. Crazy. Not shocking that they already announced Embiid out, right? Jonathan Harvey. Hello. Just woke up with the Sixers won tonight. Well, good morning to you. Joel Embiid keeps the fan base confused as to want him traded or remain a Sixer. 34 points makes no Embiid fans change opinion. Not me. Trade him. Trade him is my voice? What? What's happening? And yes, Sixers stink, just like the style of the NBA with its overemphasis on the three-point game unwatchable. While I watched, Elliot, let's go Sixers! Always nice to get a win. There we go, Elliot. Look at you and me on the same page. Overall, folks, I'm happy the Sixers did exactly what they were supposed to do against a team that is missing some stars. LaMelo Ball being one of them. I'm thrilled that the Sixers did exactly what they were supposed to do. They squeaked out a win in their first matchup back on November 10th. Then they won by 6 points on the 3rd of December. 110 to 104. Then they won 121 to 108 this past Monday. And then today they won by 10 points. This is exactly what you would want them. This is exactly what you would want them to do against the Charlotte Hornets. So 4 of the Sixers' 9 wins have come against the Hornets. How does it look down the line for this now 9-16 basketball team? Well, tomorrow night, December 21st, they're right back at it with a back-to-back heading out to Cleveland for an 8 o'clock tip-off against the Cleveland Cavaliers. Then after that, they travel Monday to San Antonio to face the Spurs for a 7 o'clock tip-off. Then Christmas Day, 5 o'clock, they are at Boston taking on the Celtics. So that's the way that looks in the next handful of games for the 10-9-8 76ers. Cleveland, by the way, They're now 24-4 on the year. They're coming off 3 consecutive wins, most recently taking care of business against the Milwaukee Bucks in a 124 to 101 victory that they were able to stack up against those Bucks tonight. So they're also going to be playing a back-to-back, but both their games are at home. So that's good for them. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you hit like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. That's like and subscribe on the Locked On Sports Philadelphia YouTube channel. My name is Mark Farzetta. I appreciate you guys. Be back with you tomorrow night after the 76ers take on the Cleveland Cavaliers at 8 o'clock. See you guys then. Have a great night. Bye-bye.